Hi, I'm Dazza Greenwood, a co-organizer of the Computational Law and Blockchain Festival of 2018 here in the Boston node. And this is a quick video overview of a particular design challenge that is one of the basically topics you could form a team and do a project to compete on. And this one is called SLIC. SLIC, Sovereign Legal Identity Challenge. And in addition to an overview, I'll answer some questions about how you can submit a team project. So let's get into that. Here we go. So first of all, what's this Computational Law and Blockchain Festival I'm talking about? It is happening from March 16th to 18th, 2018 worldwide. It's been largely organized and inspired by my favorite group, Legal Hackers, but it's happening in a coalition with a lot of terrific groups. The first annual Computational Law and Blockchain Festival is a 3-day global event bringing together coders, designers, lawyers, policymakers, researchers, students, candlestick makers, rowboat drivers, everybody. It's for you. It's for everyone to co-create the future of law, legal practice, and policy. So in the spirit of a decentralized organization and a distributed approach, this festival will be hosted at independent, self-organized nodes in cities around the world. So each of the cities that has a physical venue for this event, we're calling a node. It's decentralized. The festival is designed to be as inclusive as possible with activity tracks for participants of all backgrounds. You can learn, you can hack, and you can discuss. By hack, we mean build, of course. And learning is probably the thing that everyone's going to do, irrespective of whatever particular track or tracks they participate in. But there's also an organized learning track for those that may be new to computational law or blockchain technology. You want to have a blockchain 101. You want to learn how to write a smart contract on a blockchain. You want to learn the basics from local and global experts at our educational sessions and workshops. You are in luck because that is the first track that's being supported at this event. Hacking is one that's near and dear to our hearts here in Boston. We'll have plenty of folks from MIT and from other places where just bubbling with innovation, where we like to build things, like to rapid prototype. And if you're a coder or designer, you should consider taking part in one of our global challenges, which is this global challenge track is a distributed 24-hour hackathon that will challenge you as a participant and your team to build open source computational law and or blockchain for law use cases with a chance to win some awesome prizes. And then there's also a discussion track. One thing about lawyers is we love to talk, but everybody likes to talk about blockchain and to learn and talk about these new opportunities to transform law with technology, this computational law approach to technology and law. Interested in policy implications of blockchain technology and computational law, well, then you should join the symposium, which is this discussion track. It's a distributed policy hack to discuss core issues related to blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies with the goal of contributing to a free and open global survey of those issues. That's a nicely organized track that's going to result in some good documentation. They've got, I think, like 20 particular topics. I should also add that for this, so that's the context of the Computational Law and Blockchain Festival. The Sovereign Legal Identity Challenge is one of the challenges of that festival that I'll mention in a moment. But just to connect to you all, if you're in any of these cities, in Spain, Brazil, India, Colombia, Massachusetts, on and on, here we go, then you can join a local node and take place in any of those 3 tracks, and also take part, if you choose, in this particular challenge. Um, let's find out about the challenge. The sovereign legal identity challenge. Let's get a little bit of more space on that. Um, is you could think of it as a context and a focus that you could choose to take on as part of the hackathon track, and it involves building out two things. One is a high level design concept, and the other is a rapid prototype of some type. These would be a design architecture or a conceptual architecture and a rapid prototype that demonstrated in some way this concept of sovereign identity, or identity that is considered owned and controlled by an individual themselves, not given to us like, say, like a government identity, or an employee identity, um, or a social media identity. So this concept of sovereign identity explores ways that we can utilize new technologies like blockchain technology as a source of digital identity that is self-sourced from and for individuals on our own behalf. So let's talk about each of those two forks, or components of what you would actually do if you wanted to take on this design challenge one at a time. First, the conceptual design. You could develop a conceptual design that demonstrates how individuals can use blockchain technology to generate, use, and control their own digital identities. The conceptual design should include an outline or a sketch of a realistic approach to deployment and a stable identity system, including some reference to the business model, like who would pay or how would it be funded? How could it be economically self-sustaining? Some reference to a legal framework. What would be the rights and obligations of the parties? What would be all the roles? What would be the basis for enforceability for key rules, for example? And and the technical architecture, perhaps the most fun part. How could you utilize public key cryptography, for example, or addresses on a blockchain as a source of usable identity? Speaking of usable identity, there's also a rapid prototype. So the rapid prototype should demonstrate how the identity system enables an individual to execute digital signatures or provide other authorizations that you would need to conduct one or more legally valid and enforceable transactions. What do I mean by that? Well, what we were getting at when we brainstormed this would be some examples of legal transactions that especially you would want to do on your own behalf. So not necessarily signing off on a purchase order for your boss at work, or something like that, but perhaps you could look at focusing on a context and a scenario where an individual is signing or enforcing contracts or other legal instruments, say in their personal capacity, and they're utilizing a digital signature that is executed or adopted based on a public key pair that's the same one that they use for a blockchain address. You could look at registering and holding trademarks or copyrights. How could you complete the paperwork on that? How could you apply the signature and the other attestations? What would be the identity, the source of the identity of the registrant? How could it be verified? You could look at sending and receiving binding legal notices. That's an interesting one. Could the blockchain address be the address that you can be found at and that you could receive notice? What would it take for that notice to be valid and enforceable? What would it take for it to be binding and legal? Same, like on the reciprocally, or like the other side of that coin would be, how about sending from that address? And another thing is you could look at standing as a candidate potentially, or voting in a local election. Could you think of zero knowledge proof, or other ways to do pseudonymous pairwise identifiers, or those types of protocols, with blockchain technology, for example. Not too sure about the candidate and voting. I have to. This is a brainstorm. You can come up with your own use cases that in some way demonstrate sovereign identity, which again is demonstrating how individuals can use blockchain technology to generate, use, and control their own identities. So to self-sourced identity. Okay, let's just say you're interested and you want to form a team, you want to participate. To register your team project for the Sovereign Legal Identity Challenge, submit a GitHub issue with the following information: your name and the name of your team, the names of the members on your team, including their GitHub usernames, at least for one member, the URL of the GitHub repository where your project will be developed and submitted. And reading between the lines here, we'll make this more explicit. That means we expect your projects to be in GitHub and under an open source license. We're also let us know the URL of a YouTube channel where you'll submit a video. We're looking for not to exceed 2-minute videos. And finally, let us know what node and what city your team is using as an anchor. And it's absolutely fine for you to have some team members that are remote, but at least one person, at one city would be minimally required, one of the NIT cities. We'll be giving more information on the judging criteria, and I'll be introducing all the judges in or at least the first swath of our judges. We got some awesome ones in the next video. And let me go to the next thing. For those of you that are in the Boston area, the Boston node was the locus for this Sovereign Legal Identity Challenge. And you can, if you're in the area, you're welcome to register at clbfest.eventbrite.com. There we go. And that'll be held right here in Cambridge Innovation Center. And let me see how do I stop the screen share? Ta-da! All right. And so that was an overview of a little context of the Computational Law and Blockchain Festival, and also an overview of the Sovereign Legal Identity Challenge, and some information about how you could submit a team project. I hope that you're interested. Oh, actually, I should just show one more thing. So I'm getting some feedback here on our Telegram channel that I should click the button. So right here where it says submit a GitHub issue, click this, and it will automatically provision an issue for you where what we look for is in the title, like you should put your project name up there. So my project name is, or what was one of the topics was like receiving legal notice, something like that. Slick project for receiving legal notice. And then you kind of put your team name here, like notice this or something, I don't know, whatever. And that would be your team name, your project name, your team name. They could be the same. Put the names of your members, especially the GitHub address of a member. So maybe I'd say as a Greenwood, whomever, Jane Doe, yada, yada, yada. Okay, the project repo, just copy and paste that in. YouTube channel, and what festival node. You would be in the Boston node. I am not, however, competing, and so we're not going to submit that one, but it's literally that easy with GitHub. Just click the button, fill out the information, submit the issue, presto changeo. There you go. You've changed your state from people thinking about hacking to people that are now hacking. So in the next video, a week from now, we're also going to show some examples of trust frameworks, which are those legal frameworks. That's one way to do a legal framework that could cover sovereign legal identity or other digital identity systems. We'll show some examples of how to do some simple business models, thanks to folks in business school that are giving us some templates. And we'll show, perhaps best of all, some examples of some basic technical architectures. So ways you can utilize Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe Big Chain, maybe some other interesting blockchain and related technologies as a simple source. And we'll have some great tools for people. We'll have some great tutorials. We'll have some mentors, and best of all, perhaps by way of introductions, we'll also introduce our first swath of star-studded, fabulous judges. So if you have any questions in the meantime, come and pull an issue. Just if you don't have one, by all means, get a free GitHub username, and then pull an issue in github.com/MIT Media Lab /SLIC, SLIC, or Sovereign Legal Identity Challenge is what that stands for. And then when you're there, see how we got these, well, I'm not really screen sharing, but just to make it simple for you to know how to do that. If you have questions, just go to that address I mentioned and click on issues, new, and you could, if you have some other question, you can kind of blow that stuff away. And you could say like, what question would you have? Like, I don't know, is paper considered blockchain if it is, I don't know, linked by stables? Yes, no. And then I would probably, after a very short meeting with our team, say, no, it's not really considered blockchain for purposes of this. But you can just ask whatever question you want to ask, and then hit submit, and that'll let us deal with those questions in a much more efficient and a much faster way, because it's distributed, you could say, among a team of people that are helping on the SLIC challenge. I guess finally, if you're interested in the challenge and you don't want to compete, but you would like to support in some way, you have a cool technology, you've got some nice backgrounders or learning materials, or you think that you could be a mentor or something like that, pull an issue. We'll get right back to you. So until next time, I'm Daz Greenwood from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Looking forward to collaborating with all of you on the Computational Law and Blockchain Festival. Happy hacking.